Not only historically have we taken the course of silence, but if you look around, sisters and brothers, there's a lot of talk in our community. Everybody's talking, but nobody's talking about how old men are getting Viagra and going to get these young girls on the street and then coming home with AIDS and giving it to their elderly wives. Silence. Historically, we have been silent, but the truth of the matter is, sisters and brothers, you know that we are silent. We're silent on how our sisters are tattooing their bodies and going to run up and down poles, thinking that gives them some standing in life because of the amount of money that a man might throw at them, making it rain. And nobody is telling her, baby, there's a difference between being a H.O. and a lady. Silence. That's going to catch you on the way home. But I came to tell you today that it is time that we break the silence. It's time to break the silence so that those who are in our care, our children, our loved ones will recognize that you don't have to keep your mouth closed. You don't have to be afraid to speak what God has laid on your heart, who you are and what you stand for. And so if you don't mind, let's take this journey together and break the silence in our homes, in our relationships, in our lives. The record says that Jesus went to a well in Samaria. It says he must needs go through Samaria. Please don't miss it, sisters and brothers, because the fact of the matter is that Jews did not go through Samaria when they traveled from Judea to Galilee, because they felt Samaritans were so unclean and so dirty that they didn't even want to touch the ground that Samaritans walked on. And so the record says that Jesus went to Samaria on purpose in order to meet this woman at the well. He engages her and she's tripping because here is this Jew who should not be talking to me, a man who should not be talking to me, a rabbi who should not be talking to me, and all he wants to know is, sister, can you give me a drink of water? He begins to break through her shell, if you will, break through her course of silence to try to get her to see that it's all right to be who you are and to stand for what you stand. Her response is, how are you going to talk to me? And you know that I'm a Samaritan woman. You're not even supposed to be talking to me in public. And Jesus continues the conversation. Can I tell you, sisters and brothers, that in order to break the silence in our communities, in our homes, you got to keep talking about it. Parents, you can't mention it to your children one time and expect to get a breakthrough. You got to keep talking about it. I am so tired of parents who are afraid of their children, so afraid of their children that they won't talk about what they see. They won't talk about what's going on. They won't challenge her and say, open up the Facebook page. I want to see what you're talking about and who you're talking about. But I came to tell you, if you want your child, baby, you got to break the silence. And I got another one for you. Every now and then you need to scroll through the text messages and make sure that there's no sexting going on when there should be texting. She says, you're not supposed to be talking to me. Who said? You know what bothers me about us, Brother Leonard, is we allow society to decide the persons that we should have relations or communicate with. And it even happens, believe it or not, in Elm Grove. They don't look like us, so we're not going to talk to them. They are not of our caliber. I got news for you, baby. We all the same in God's eyes. They are not of our caliber, so we're not going to talk to them. I got another one for you. The pastor can't be everywhere at the same time. If you hear little Bobby, little JoJo, little Mary cussing in the hall, you stop them and talk to them. Don't come to me and tell me they cursed Thursday and today is Sunday. And yes, your little boo is cussing going up the stairs to Sunday school. So when will we break the silence? What I've discovered, sisters and brothers, what I've discovered is again, many of us are quiet for fear of retribution. Many of us are quiet because we don't want to render ourselves vulnerable. I'm over here. We don't want to render ourselves vulnerable to criticism and exclusion. And so we remain quiet and silent. Check what the record says. The conversation continues. And Jesus wants to know, and Jesus wants to know, okay, well then tell me, where's your husband? If you want to know about this living water stuff, go get your man. And the sister say, I ain't got no man. Y'all don't mind if we just talk, huh? Everybody awake up there? And the Lord said, I know you don't. I really believe that it wasn't so much that the man didn't want to marry her. I think she didn't want to marry him. Because my first husband cheated on me. And my second husband beat me. And I cheated on my third husband. And my fourth husband died. And me and the fifth husband just couldn't get along. So rather than putting myself in that position again, I think I'll just be quiet. And Jesus wants to know, where's your husband? New Testament professor Dwight Callahan suggests that this is not about marriage at all, but perhaps it is about social standing. Listen to the conversation and you will recognize that talking about a husband doesn't even make sense at this point. And so perhaps Jesus was asking her, who's in charge of you? Think about it, because the Aramaic word for husband is Baalim. Not Baalim like the old God, but B-A-A-L-I-M, Baalim, which means Lord. And so perhaps he's asking her, who's lorded over you? And the woman says, and she says, I don't have nobody lording over me. I ain't going that route anymore. I'm not letting anybody else be in charge of me. It makes sense when you consider world history, Walter, because by this time in Samaria, the Persians had been in charge, the Babylonians had been in charge, the Assyrians had been in charge, the Greeks had been in charge. That's 4. Wait a minute. And the Judeans had been in charge. You already had 5 husbands. And the one you with, somebody remembers that Rome is in charge of Palestine at this charge, and the one you with, you ain't married to him. So who's lording over you, woman? I ain't letting nobody lord over me no more. I'll just be quiet, stay silent, and won't say a thing. But Jesus did not give up. Are we still together? Jesus said, we're going to break this silence if it takes all day. And so she wants to know, get this. Well, then you say You're supposed to worship at the temple in Jerusalem. But we say that you worship at the temple on the Mount Gerizim. Now we get into the problem. Now we get into the issue. Because I chose to be quiet. Can I take you back? I chose to keep silent, one, because I'm tired of being shunned by the community. Two, I'm tired of somebody defining me by who's sleeping in my bed. But you know what I'm really tired of? You telling me that I am not worthy, that I'm unclean because I don't match what you like. If you worship in Jerusalem, that's your business. I choose to worship on the Mount Gerizim. Think about it. Think about it. All of this woman's life, she's been told that her religion is second class. And don't you know, if somebody teaches you that your religion is second class, they're telling you, you second class? Now this is what I'm going to preach about at noon. Contrary to popular belief, the black church is not a second class citizen. Contrary to what society is saying, the black church does practice salvation. We do believe in the Lord and in the Lordship of Jesus Christ. And so how dare you tell me that I got to be quiet, that I shouldn't say what ought to be said because you think my religion doesn't match your religion. The same God that's God down on Church Street downtown is the same God that's meeting me on 38th Street. All of her life, she's been told that you are unclean, that you are not worthy. You are Samaritan, you are a woman, and your religion is second class. And so to defend myself, I'll just keep silent. I'm almost done. But this woman's purpose in life was not to live silently. And I came to tell those of you who've been living your life quiet, keeping your mouth closed, not speaking up, not telling the truth when you should tell the truth. Your purpose in life is not to live in silence. I know I'm right about it. Because before this story is over, the record lets us know that this woman goes running back into her town and says, come see a man that told me all about myself. Now listen, her purpose in life was not to live in silence. This woman is an evangelist and she doesn't even know it. Because the record says her whole town was saved because she met Jesus by the well, broke the silence, and went to tell somebody about what the Lord has done for her. Listen, young brothers and sisters, stop sitting there quiet. If you smart, if you know how to handle the Queen's English, if you know how to make good grades, don't you sit in silence. Don't you make F's to make people like you. Speak up and break the silence. Listen, sister, if you got the ministry down in you, if you got the business down in you, if you got the word in you, don't you sit there in silence anymore. Speak up. Let the world know what the Lord has done for you. Listen, brother, don't you let that woman run over you in your house no more. Go home and declare that God has made me the head of this house. Don't you sit here in silence anymore. Yeah, I said it. And you can stop me when I start lying.